Recently I made a video about who was worse, Ellen DeGeneres or Amber Heard, and determined that Amber was by far the worst. But now this begs the question of who's even worse than her? Well, I scoured the internet looking for some celebrities who've done some seriously messed up stuff, and I've compiled a list, so with that said, let's talk about the top 10 celebrities worse than Amber Heard. What's going on, guys? I'm your host Bree Room and welcome back to Top 10 Beyond the Screen. Before we jump into today's video, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you never miss out on an upload, and check out our playlist to see more videos like this one. Whew, that's a lot, but do it all. Also, go ahead and check out our newest channel, Top 10 Central Vibe, hosted by Che Durena. It's the new go-to place for comedy and good vibes. I mean, Che's the one hosting this channel, and he's the master of good vibes, so you're bound to have a good time over there. The channel launches today, so go subscribe and tell them BTS sent ya.
Just like blup blup blup. Oh, and that was for sure poo. This is gonna be Top 10 Central Vibe. Hope you guys like it. It's gonna be starring me all the time. We're in the Illuminati.
Anyway, with all that said and done, let's jump into the video. Starting us off at number 10, Blake Jenner. Blake Jenner is known for his time on Glee and for his relationship with Supergirl actress and fellow Glee alum Melissa Benoist. Late last year, Melissa broke her silence on her experience with domestic violence involving her husband Blake. In a 14-minute video, Melissa recounted her many instances of abuse with her former partner and talked about the things that he had done to her. Things such as throwing a phone at her face which tore her iris, broke her nose, and had permanently altered her vision. She also talked about the jealousy Blake felt when Melissa was on set and how he refused to let her have any romantic scenes with other men. He was controlling, manipulative, and violent. Melissa tried covering up the injuries sustained by the domestic abuse by telling people that she was just accident prone, but in reality it was a victim of Blake's outbursts. She ended the video by saying that she left him for her own safety and well-being and that many relationships aren't always what they seem. Blake may not necessarily be worse than Amber on this front, but they are at the very least equally as disgusting. At number 9, Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson has sort of been shunned from Hollywood because of his past behavior. Mel has been accused of being anti-Semitic and abusive in the past. He's known to have made numerous anti-Semitic remarks and slurs to people on multiple occasions, and his film The Passions of the Christ has also been criticized for anti-Semitism. He's also been accused of domestic violence towards his former partner Oksana Grigorova, and it was reported that he would say racist and misogynist things to her and even issued violent threats against her. Oksana has gone on record saying that her relationship with Mel and the abuse against her left her with PTSD, and she had taken out a restraining order against him. There were charges against Mel for domestic violence, but they were ultimately dropped, though he did plead no contest to a battery charge. His reputation left him barred from Hollywood for a long time because of his poor reputation and allegations against him. Anyone who would say the things he said and abuse their partner is a bad person, no doubt. And at 8, Harvey Weinstein. I'm sure most of you are aware of the things Harvey Weinstein has done, but if not, I'll give you a brief synopsis. Basically, Weinstein has been accused of multiple allegations of assault, misconduct, and other pretty nasty things. For years, many women have been accusing this man of all kinds of awful things, and he was finally brought to justice as he was sentenced to 23 years in prison after being found guilty of most of the crimes against him. Now, for YouTube purposes, I'm not going to go into detail of what exactly he's done, but I'm sure you're already familiar or understand what I'm referring to. I will say though that this man is disgusting. The things he's done to women are horrible, and you cannot convince me otherwise. I have him on this list because he's just one of the worst people, and he's done some of the worst things you could ever do to a person. Amber is bad, but Harvey, I don't like at all. The fact that he got away with some of these things for so long is baffling to me, and I just don't know what else to say about him other than the fact that he's a horrible person who's done horrible things. At number 7, O.J. Simpson. The O.J. Simpson murder trial was one of the defining events of the 90s. The trial was very heavily publicized, being one of the most publicly broadcasted trials in history. The famous trial had him on the stand to determine his role in the murder of his ex-wife. Though he was a prime suspect in the trial, O.J. ended up getting acquitted in 1995. This trial ended with him being found not guilty, but not too long after that, O.J. was indicted for being involved in an armed robbery, kidnapping, and assault with a deadly weapon. Sure, he didn't kill his wife, but he still endangered lives during the robbery gone wrong. Obviously, the crime was serious enough for O.J. to be sentenced for up to 33 years. After serving 9 years of his jail sentence, he was granted parole and was released. But I hear you asking, how is O.J. worse than Amber? Amber was abusive, O.J. stole some stuff. My thinking here is that he still endangered people's lives, and he was in possession possession of a deadly weapon at the time of the burglary. Things would have easily led to someone being fatally injured. Though Amber was abusive, there is no indication that she had a deadly weapon. It's a fine line, but I think it's enough to include OJ on this list. Coming in at number 7, Mark Wahlberg. When I was doing research for this video, I was shocked to learn about the things that Mark Wahlberg has done in his past, and I am appalled. Turns out Mark over here has been pretty racist in the past. Firstly, back in '86 when he was in his early teens, he and 3 of his friends chased 3 black kids and pelted them with rocks while yelling "kill the N-words." They didn't stop assaulting the kids until an ambulance driver intervened with the altercation. Obviously, Mark didn't think to stop this behavior because the following day, he found a group of mostly black kids at the beach and got a group of white adult men to throw rocks and yell racial slurs at the kids. I don't know why he did this. I mean, why does anyone do racist things? Was this a form of entertainment? I don't know. Why do people have so much hate in their hearts? I mean, God. If you thought the racist actions were over, think again. Later in 1988, Mark attacked 2 Vietnamese men while high on PCP. He yelled slurs at the men and hit one of them over the head with a 5-foot wooden plank. For this crime, he was charged with attempted murder but instead pleaded guilty to felony assault and served 45 days in prison. I have to say that Mark is definitely deserving of being on this list. He is worse than Amber because of the blatant racism and violence against these people. Halfway through at number 5, Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby is another one of those people who just make my blood boil. Bill was found to have had over 50 altercations with women who have reported unwanted or unsettling experiences with Cosby. Much like Weinstein, I'm sure you are familiar with his case, but if not, I'll just tell you that he's been found guilty of aggravated indecent assault in 2018 and has been ordered to serve 3 to 10 years in prison. There have been allegations of multiple instances of assault, misconduct, and other things stemming back to 1965 at the earliest. You can look up his assault cases on Wikipedia and see what he's been accused of, but I promise you it will make your blood boil. Much like Weinstein, the fact that it took so many years for the voices of his victims to be heard and for justice to be served is unnerving. He's worse than Amber Heard, hands down. Coming in at number 4, Chris Brown. Does anyone else remember when Chris Brown beat up Rihanna back in 2009? Because I sure do. When images were released of Rihanna's face all battered and bruised following the altercation were released, Chris Brown's reputation collapsed for a while. It was disturbing to see how much damage he did to his then girlfriend. I had to put Chris on this list because though he and Amber are both accused of abuse and assault, seeing how badly Chris hurt Rihanna villainizes him a bit more than Amber. The details of the altercation are public record, but the task of reading what he did is certainly not for the faint of heart. He beat Rihanna so badly that she required hospitalization, and the only punishment he received was 5 years probation and 6 months of community service. This event marked the downfall of his career, and even after the Rihanna assault, he was involved in more violent altercations with other people, including other girlfriends. In at number 3, Chris D'Elia. Recently, Chris D'Elia has been faced with multiple allegations of sexual misconduct and harassing underage girls online. Multiple women have been coming forward to share their unpleasant experiences with the comedian, from unwanted advances to indecent exposure and grooming. I've read recounts of the altercation these women have had with him, and though I can't specifically say what happened in those instances, I will say that I'm appalled, disgusted, and taken aback by his actions. As for the grooming allegations, Chris denies them. I mean, Chris denies everything. But the allegations of the experiences these girls had carry more weight to them because they were minors at the time of these events. I put Chris on this list because of the grooming, really. Having relationships with underage girls is inappropriate and unnecessary and just wrong. His actions and experiences with these young women have impacted their lives, and now they have to live with that. The multiple allegations against Chris paints him to look like a real criminal. Not because I'm saying he's guilty, but people now have a negative perspective of him. As of right now, I haven't heard any legal action being pressed against him, but if what these women say are true, he's much worse than Amber Heard because of his blatant disrespect towards these women. Coming in at number 2, Rick James. Rick James was known for being an R&B funk pioneer, but he also did some horrible stuff in his life. Most notably, he and his girlfriend were arrested for imprisoning and torturing a woman over the course of 3 days while locked up in his home. Sources said that the couple had met their victim at a party and offered to take her home as the woman was unemployed. As the woman came to the couple's home, Rick threatened her with a firearm and told her that he would kill her if she tried to leave. They tied her up and burned her over 20 times with a hot smoking pipe. They also forced the women to perform certain acts on James' girlfriend, and they forced the woman to do drugs. He's a horrible person. In the next few days, James set the woman free and she ended up in a nearby hospital where police were notified of the altercation. James was put on trial for the event and faced a possible sentence of life imprisonment. He was found guilty of 2 charges but was acquitted of the torture charge, which would have led him to have his life sentence. Instead, James ended up serving 2 of his 5-year sentence and was later released. I'm pretty sure that this guy is so much worse than Amber Heard, hands down. I mean, just look at what he did to that woman. Amber may have been abusive, but I don't think she's ever done things as serious as this. Finally, at number 1, John Wilkes Booth. John Wilkes Booth is the guy who assassinated President Lincoln in 1865. Now, before you go running to the comment section saying, oh well, he's not a celebrity, yes he is. He was an actor in his day, and to a lot of people he was a celebrity. If you Google this guy, his occupation under his name from Wikipedia doesn't say assassin or anything, it says American actor. He's just a celebrity. He's on this list at number 1 because he literally assassinated the President of the United States. I mean, it cannot get any worse than that. He's the worst person on this list. He committed homicide. Say what you want about Amber Heard, but I'm pretty sure John Wilkes Booth is way worse than her. If you don't think so, I'm gonna have to ask you to sit down. Amber abused her husband and that's absolutely horrible, but not nearly as bad as killing someone, especially the leader of your own country. Alright guys, I'm gonna wrap things up here. If you liked this video, go ahead and leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel because we're a group of awesome people over here at BTS, so join the cool clan. Also, don't forget to head on over to Top 10 Central Vibe and subscribe over there too. That's all I've got for you guys today, so stay groovy, friends. Former partner Oksana When images were released of Rihanna's face all battered and bruised following the altercation, that's a lot of syllables. I've read recounts of the altercations. I've read recounts. Oh, it's my favorite one.